Bomb, ba bomb, ba bomb, ba bomb, ba bomb, ba bomb. Scaredy Cat.
Welcome back to the podcast. I am Robbie,
I'm Ash.
and this is Scaredy Cat, a podcast where one person who really likes horror films
One person who's not too keen on them.
watch them so you don't have to. This
Aren't
week,
we nice?
I think so.
We're like the most altruistic people on the face of the planet.
So this week we're gonna watch 2016's The Girl with All the Gifts.
Okay.
What do you think it's about?
Well, gift could mean two things, right? Well, I mean, it could mean a lot of things. But in my head, it means two things. It can either mean Christmas, or it can mean, like, she can, like, dance and sing and paint and play baseball really well.
Yeah, this is a follow-up to The Field of Dreams, is what you're saying?
With a Santa twist. So this girl is the love child of so Kris Kringle
Mm-hmm.
has an affair with one of his female elves.
All right.
And this girl gets real good at baseball, elf baseball. But she's like slightly taller than all the other elves. And she's redheaded because Kris Kringle was redheaded, right? So, which is weird, but she's like a little bit taller, but not like elf tall, not like, what's his name? Help me. Will Ferrell. Not like Will Ferrell tall, just like tall enough to look kind of weird. But she really, really, really enjoys giving other people gifts, like a lot. Like she gets
Because she has them all.
an extreme pleasure from it, from giving people gifts, like almost like an ecstasy type thing. So
An ecstasy?
sure. And she's delightful. She's got rosy cheeks. She's got a joyful heart, and she just
A pleasant
demeanor. She knows that she's not just supposed to be an elf. You know, not that there's anything wrong with being an elf. Elves have an important job.
Mm-hmm.
But she just knows she's meant for more. So she does all she can to stand out and be noticed by Santa. And then one day, she goes a little too far. Santa's like, whoa there, you need to get back in your place. You know, you're taking my job, blah, blah, blah. I'm immortal. It's not like you're going to inherit the family business.
And I will cut a bitch.
I'm not going to die or anything unless I get pushed off a roof. By Tim Allen in his underwear.
Got it.
So I just want to make sure you got the reference.
I did.
So anyway, so then her mom sits her down with some cocoa and she's like, hey, I have to tell you something. He's actually your father. And that's why you have these incredible gifts to give other
All
people
of them.
incredible gifts.
All of these gifts.
Yeah. And then she's like, and you're also telepathic. And then she ends up murdering everyone.
That's the only logical conclusion.
Am I close? Is that what's happening?
Who knows?
What do you mean, who knows?
I haven't read the plot.
You didn't read it?
No.
I'm disappointed.
We're going to find out together.
Okay.
So we'll watch it and we'll come back.
All right.
Meow, 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 meow.
All right, we just watched The Girl with All the Gifts. And what did you think of the film?
I thought it was really good. I think it's interesting what's happening with zombie films now where they're not like scary, gross, horrifying zombie films. They're turning into these like really like emotional roller coasters. You know what I'm talking about? You do.
Are you just referring to the Train to Busan and now this one, like
Yeah,
the ones we've been watching?
and some other ones that we've seen in the past year or two. It's just been like I'm not scared, I'm sad. I'm sad, and then I'm happy, and then I'm sad, and then I'm happy, and then I'm sad.
Thank you for describing emotions. But I know what you mean. Like this does seem like a very well thought out plot. However,
It's like an emotional thing.
I've seen this before.
Okay.
This whole movie, I've seen it before. There was a game that came out in like 2009, 2010. It was called The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
And it has basically the same plot as this.
I do remember you playing this game.
It's about a guy who finds a girl who is immune to the disease, which, by the way, the disease or the fungus, which takes over these people, turns them into zombies.
The fungus among us.
Yes. It's the same thing. This has fungus zombies. This has a little girl that has possibly the cure. This has a father figure who's reluctant. Now, it really focuses more on the woman and the kid. And if it was up to the dude, he would have shot her. So
Right.
that's a little different. But other than that, it's pretty much the same plot. But it was fun to watch that plot played out again.
Was this the game that you played that you said like the end made you cry or whatever?
It was very sad.
Yeah.
I mean, that was on PS3. That wasn't even on PS4. That was a console ago.
Well, fine.
So you want to break out the cast?
Our main character is a young girl named Melanie.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to try this.
Good luck.
Senya Nanua, I believe is her name.
That was very good. Have you been practicing?
A lot. A lot.
I guess she's a
Hybrid.
she's a second generation Hungry.
Mhm.
And Hungry is what they call the zombies in this.
Yes, it's
Film.
a fungus. It's a fungal infection that takes over your brain and turns you into a zombie.
Right. So
And makes you into a chatterteeth. Like,
yeah.
lots of chattering.
So Melanie is second generation, which means the fungus has sort of wrapped itself around her brain and created like a symbiosis type relationship with her body, I guess, where she can function. Like she has thoughts, she has emotions and feelings. So essentially they've captured a whole bunch of newborn babies and raised them in a military facility where they are doing all sorts of cognitive tests and stuff on them to see if they're like for real human or whatever.
Who has captured them?
Well, Sergeant Parks.
Played by Patty Considine.
So Sergeant Parks is kind of our reluctant hero, I guess.
No, he's not even a hero. Not until the very end.
I mean, he kind of is.
He is our main character. Our hero in this story is Melanie, and he is completely against Melanie being there at all. So he can't
Well,
be the hero.
For like the first quarter. Next, we have Dr. Caldwell,
Played by the magnanimous Glenn Close
the incomparable Glenn Close.
in a very short haircut.
She did a fucking bang up job in this. She plays a doctor,
Obsessed with finding a cure.
right? And
So much so that she's chopping up little kids
she's fully willing to cut the brain out of an 11-year-old kid
and spinal column.
and your spinal cord, yeah, to
The
Anyways.
question is she going to throw that in a blender and just like grind it up?
She does not ever say what she's going to do with it. I'm assuming that she's pulling some juice out of it or something. And
She just takes it around and lets people lick them.
maybe like a lollipop.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like that.
Anyway,
So then next we have Miss Justinu.
played by Jima Arturton.
Sure.
That's not at all. Sure. That's probably the worst name that I've butchered so far. in
No,
this
that's not
entire
true.
series.
You did pretty horribly with that.
I have butchered some
Train to
names,
Busan.
but Gemma Arterton, possibly, maybe that's your name.
Either way, you did a fantastic job. She plays the teacher. She's sort of the only person who really gives these kids any sort of love and attention, and she's just
She can't get through a lesson without
Without
crying.
crying.
In fact, I think it is called Crying 101.
and I'm pretty sure that I could not do it either because it's just so fucking sad.
Did you get the feeling that Melanie was just fucking with her?
No,
She
I
was
got
like,
the feeling.
"Oh, I'm so sorry that I've made you cry again."
I think Melanie genuinely loved Miss Justinu.
Well, yeah, she saves her at the end.
Yeah, but I definitely don't think that she was fucking with her. Anyways, so then we have Gallagher.
Played by Physio Akinod.
That was good. You did a good job.
Oh my Jesus.
Gallagher was certain parks, kind of.
There's only a few soldiers who make it off the base
Right.
from the beginning, and he's just one of those.
Right. I have a question.
Mhm.
In this post-apocalyptic army environment, how do you make rank? Do you test? Do you...
I think it's as one person turns into a hungry, you get their rank. We had an officer position come available today.
Would you like to be a lieutenant colonel? Sure. And then we have Dylan, who is another...
I thought we were done. You were saying-
Sorry.
Played by Anthony Welsh. What a nice, sensible name. I'm pretty sure I didn't fuck up your name.
It's pronounced Welsh. No, Dylan is another soldier that makes it out with Sergeant Perks and Dylan and Melanie and...
Yeah. Okay,
everybody
so
else.
now that we've got the main cast, we can say it starts off with Melanie inside of her cell.
Oh,
And every day she does the same thing. She gets up, she gets in a wheelchair, she buckles herself into the wheelchair, and she prepares for them to come and take her to a classroom.
by buckling herself in, we mean
Yeah, they take them in.
attaching feet, ankle and wrist restraints, and a head restraint.
No, she doesn't do the head restraint.
Well,
They
no.
do.
I mean, she
But
can't.
yeah. But yeah, they come in and they keep a weapon trained on her, and they prepare her by strapping her into this thing, and then they
Right.
wheel her into a classroom where all of these other people in the same suit,
All these children.
all these other children in the same suit, listen as they give a lecture, and they hold class.
Right. They've obviously never known anything different. They don't seem to be, like, malcontent. The soldiers treat them like they are...
The plague.
Well, I
like they're
mean-
horrible monsters. But
Right.
you don't know yet what they are, and they don't tell you until later on in the film.
Right.
Now, Melanie, in the face of all this, is nothing but pleasant. She says hello to everyone.
Right.
She knows everybody by their name. And at night, Glenn Close's character, Dr. Caldwell, wanders around. She talks to Melanie through her door, asks her a trivia question or a riddle,
Yeah.
and asks her to give her a number. She gives her the number 13. The next day, 13, from cell 13, doesn't show up. So the next night,
I did not connect those
you
two
didn't connect that?
things.
Yeah, I figured out when she said 4, and then it pulled back, and you see her door is 4.
I did not see that.
That's why Glenn Close says, "Are you sure 4 is your answer?"
Why did that have anything to do with anything?
I don't know if it was because they saw her as extra special, like they thought they figured out she was.
I mean,
like,
she was definitely the most, like, emotionally advanced
right.
of all the kids. So Glenn Close...
She had all of the gifts.
True. Glenn Close is operating under the assumption that these children are mimicking emotional behavior that they're seeing.
Right.
That they're not really people, that they're not really alive, that the virus does their thinking for them.
Right, that the virus is trying to mimic us.
Right. That they're just, like, high-functioning...
Because hungries are just zombies.
Right.
They're people that the fungus has taken over. A lot of times they have, like, fungus coming out.
They've grown a lot of shit. It's like when you leave an orange in the bottom of your fridge for a long time and it grows like that nice fuzz around it. That's what they look like.
Mm.
Short story. When I first started my a job, I took a lunch and I took an orange, like a little, like what are they called? The little oranges, like a halo orange, in my lunch. It fell out of my lunch bag in the bottom of my desk. And it's a drawer that I don't typically open. So one day at work, a couple of months later, I was like, man, we got fruit flies in here. That's real weird. And the person that I shared the office with, she was like, huh, that is really weird. Where are the fruit flies coming from? So we're looking all around trying to figure it out. I can't figure it out. We're just swatting them all day. We don't know what's happening. And our building is pretty decrepit and gross. So we for sure have, like, black mold in our carpet, blah, blah, blah. So, like, we can't figure it out. Somebody goes to the store and gets, like, vinegar and some fly traps or whatever to kind of soak them up. And then just on pure hunch, I open the bottom drawer of my desk. Fucking millions of fruit flies come out from this, like, rotting, like, molded, like, almost gelatinous orange. And then I shut the drawer very, very quickly because I'm still very new and I don't want to be the person that brought fruit flies into the building. So I very quietly...
The only thing you can do is set fire to the building.
Basically. But I did not choose arson this time.
Okay.
So I very quietly dumped my lunch out of the plastic sack that it was in, used that sack to pick up the gelatinous oozy orange, and took it outside and quietly threw it in the dumpster and never said a fucking word.
Yeah, I've been there. Been there, not with food, but like the paperwork that goes missing. And everybody's like, I know this is around here somewhere.
Like,
You're like, I have no fucking clue where that is. Stop talking about it. And then eventually you open up your drawer and it's like fucking right there.
Yep, that's happened.
So
to me
you
a
just
couple
take
times.
it and you shred it. And you never say shit
Just
about it.
very quietly throw
Just
it away.
make it disappear. Another quick short story is food related. Is when we moved into our first apartment, one of the very first things we did was went to the grocery store, and we were so happy about having our own place. We've been living with people for like months,
6 or 7 months.
and so we got a pineapple.
Oh, by the way, we also used to go grocery shopping at
At
like 4 in
midnight.
the morning.
We went
Because-
to like a Walmart at midnight. That was our
Because we
thing.
were irresponsible. We
Very-
were like 20 years old.
We didn't have any kids. We were.
I was in college. You kind of worked from home. We had no rules.
Yeah,
and-
we didn't even clean a lot in that first apartment.
No, we did not.
But we had a counter, and I put the pineapple on the counter, and then we promptly forgot about it. Now, when I say on the counter, I mean it's directly in our line of sight every day,
All the time, yeah.
all day long. But we did not touch it for a year, and nothing ever changed about the pineapple. It just sat there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, what a good pineapple! It just so
What
anyway.
a good pineapple.
What a good pineapple. It's staying right where it is. I bet you could make a house out of that.
So well behaved.
Perhaps under the sea. But when we went to leave, we were, cleaning up, and I took the pineapple and I tried to take it off the counter, and it was stuck. And so I pulled and I pulled, and finally I pried it up to find out that the juices from inside the pineapple had eroded the countertop in a perfect circle, right where it was.
I do remember this.
So, don't leave your pineapples out.
We did not get our security deposit back.
They're acid. They're pure acid. So yeah, that was my story. That was my quick story.
Nice. Very good.
So, Glenn Close comes to ask her again. Okay, so then Miss Justinu is the teacher, and she has a hard time separating the idea that these are not children.
Well, right. She does not want to treat them like monsters. And so they ask her to read them stories.
Mhm.
And she's
Which
like,
she's not supposed to do.
no, if I do that, I'll
put
end
me
up
back
in
in the tank.
sweat box or
Yeah.
whatever. And they were like, and Melanie was like, well, if you read us stories
Or
from
since
Greek...
Glenn Close is in the movie, maybe they put her in the boo box.
Very nice.
The boo box. Boo.
Very nice.
Hook joke.
Good job.
Which she also kind of had the same haircut.
Wait. Glenn Close was in Hook?
Yeah, she was in Hook.
Who was she in Hook?
She was the pirate that gets put in the boo box.
Glenn?
The boo box. No,
Glenn?
not the boo box.
Glenn Close was the Boo Box pirate?
Yes.
We're going to have to watch this later. I did not know that was her.
Hang on, we're pausing for
I
a
don't
second.
need you to look it up.
Now that you've been properly shamed about your Hook knowledge.
I just didn't know. I'm sorry.
So, Miss Justinu
Mm-hmm.
commits the mortal sin of this whole thing. She touches.
Well, they ask her to read them a story. She reads them a Greek myth about, it's the story of Pandora. And she tells them that hope is the good thing that makes you able to stand all of the bad things. And the kids say, well, there's nothing bad here. And she cries.
But what really sets her off is she has them all write a story.
Right.
And Melanie reads her story, and it makes Miss Justinu cry.
Well, because it's about
it's
essentially
about her
about
dream.
Melanie escaping
Mhm.
with Miss Justinu.
Yes.
And they protect each other.
So Miss Justinu walks over and she touches her on the head.
Yeah.
So Sergeant Parks rushes in, reprimands her, and says, "You think these kids are safe? You think that they're
human.
They're human?" And so then he rubs his arm and he holds it in front of one of the children.
He spits on his hand, rubs it on his arm, and holds his arm out in front of a boy that's across from Melanie.
And he turns into, like, his jaw drops, and the kid starts, like, chattering at him.
Unhinges his jaw.
And that starts the whole class, except for Melanie, goes insane, and they just start, like...
But all these kids are still strapped into their wheelchairs,
Right.
so they're not in any actual danger.
Yes, and she is quite embarrassed, I imagine.
Who? Miss Justinu?
Justinu. Yeah.
I think she's just mad. She just spends most of this movie being mad at everyone. And I get it. I get why she would be
I
upset.
think she just spent the whole movie being sad. Like, that was really what...
That too.
That
But
was
like
really
it
what...
was like the mad sad.
The schmad.
Right.
Sergeant Parks leaves her in her wheelchair when they take her back to her room.
Melanie
in her wheelchair all night until Miss Justinu finds her and lets her out of her wheelchair. And they're talking, and this is where you think Melanie is different. You think that she's normal. But Melanie starts reacting to her being there. And so she tells Miss Justinu to get out just in time before she starts attacking her. And Miss Justinu gets out. And now she's really sad again. She's crying some more.
Well,
and she takes out this body gel they have.
Right.
Or this blocker gel.
That is basically meant to block their scent. Because you
Yes.
find out that the Hungries hunt... Their main sense is smell.
Yes.
They can smell humans. And that's how they wake up and find you, essentially.
So she runs off. She's so sad. She's crying again.
She tells her she's sorry.
She runs off.
Like, Miss Justinu tells Melanie that she's sorry. She didn't mean to make her do that.
And Glenn Close finds the gel. She asks her how you would know if a cat was alive or dead inside of a box if you couldn't touch it or smell it or open it or listen to it. And she says, well, the cat is neither alive or dead. And she says that's not the standard answer. The standard answer is the cat is neither alive nor dead or something like that.
You just said
the cat is both.
No, Melanie said the cat is both. Glenn Close says it's neither.
The part that matters is the fact that she gave a response that was not expected.
Right.
Because Glenn Close believes that these creatures are just mimicking whatever they hear.
Right.
But she's coming up with thoughts on her own. So she asks her for a number, and she gives her the number 4. Pulls back, and you find out her room is number 4. So the next day, they wheel her to a different part of the hospital. Well, it's a base. They wheel her to a different part of like a military base, and they bring her into what looks like a giant clinic.
Glenn Close is like
an emergency room, surgery room, and she sees a jar on the counter with a brain in it that has the number 13 written underneath it, which was the first number that she gave her.
I didn't see that either.
You didn't see that?
No.
And it has like the little fungus around it. That's how she knows that they have like the things wrapped around it.
Right.
So they put Melanie to sleep, and they put her up on the table, and they're preparing to slice her open.
And get her brain.
When Miss Justinu rushes in and tries to stop them with a fire extinguisher.
Right, she smashes the phone with the fire extinguisher, and she tells them to back the fuck up.
Glenn Close double crosses her.
She maces her.
Yeah, gets maced in the face.
I don't think Miss Justinu reacted properly to the mace.
She was like, ouch.
I feel like mace is a lot more like it's a harsh response. You're snotty, you're sweating, you're throwing up, you're burning for days. Like it gets in your skin and in your clothes.
Sometimes your skin blisters.
It's bad shit.
She was good after like 30 minutes.
She literally just wiped her eyes with her sleeve and she was fine. That is not real.
Yeah. But
I think you can poop yourself too.
so they get back to the business of cutting open small children and ripping their spinal cords and brains out. But before they do, the base comes under attack. And they're like, oh, should we stop? And she goes, no, just lower the shutters. So, as one does, you stand next to the window that's by the shutters.
Of course.
And
We're
you see
watching,
a zombie come in the
run
door and
towards
run
her.
towards her. And the shutters are coming down. And you think the shutters are going to make it. And then the zombie just comes straight through the window. Which also doesn't make sense to what they've already told us. Or what they do tell us later. That these things hunt by smell. Because she's standing on the other side of like a glass wall. There's no
Yeah.
way the thing smelled her.
Well, no, I mean, you could probably spell through glass.
But he breaks through the glass, grabs her, bites her. Then her assistant turns, and she gets all chatterboxy and attacks Glenn Close. And Glenn Close runs out of the room. Melanie wakes up, gets out of the room.
Yep.
So she breaks free. She saves Miss Justinu, and they jump in the back of a vehicle.
She saves Miss Justinu by eating two
guards, which she knows who they are. She talks to them every day.
Yep.
But she had no problem ripping their throats out. They get in a vehicle along with Sergeant Parks
Dylan and Gallagher. Dr. Caldwell.
So they're all in this vehicle.
They're driving off to another fob that is...
Ford operating base, for those who don't know.
That's on, I guess, in another, like a couple 100 miles away. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's far, but not too far.
All hell had broken loose on the base.
Yeah,
zombies everywhere.
Right. The zombies had broken through the fence, like their defenses were down, and they were eating people left and right.
They're killing everybody.
Yes. Undiscerningly. Is that the right word? Discerningly?
I don't know. Sure.
Non-discriminately.
There we go. That's a
Just
good one.
eating motherfuckers.
That's like a 5-point word right there.
Thank you. SAT words. You know, I never actually took the SAT.
Neither did I.
I took the PSAT.
Took the ASCAP.
What's
close?
that? ASCAP?
Mhm.
You mean the ASVAB?
Oh, yeah, that one too.
The ASCAP.
The ASCAP is a different thing.
That's a different thing that we do occasionally
Oh.
on your birthday.
That's a little raunchy. Along the way, they lose Dylan because he gets bit. In a scene that was very reminiscent of Cell,
Yeah.
but much better.
Significantly.
Done so much better. They had to stop and get water, and Dylan is supposed to put a suppressor on his weapon.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. He fires at the woods,
At a tree.
and that calls all of the hungries after them. And so then they're having to fight their way through hungries.
But it made sense. Like, what happened made sense.
Right.
And it was done well.
Yeah, it wasn't. It felt like they actually cared about the scene.
Right. John Cusack needs to watch this movie next time before he decides to do
Also,
some shit.
no beanies in this film.
Not a one. And everybody...
Plus or minus, I'm not sure.
Everybody did fine.
They're very concerned about Melanie, as you should be, because she's
Right,
a
she's
fucking
a-
monster.
Right.
And they make her ride on the roof of the
In
of
a
the,
Hannibal Lecter mask.
in a Hannibal Lecter mask on the roof of the armored truck, with her hands tied behind her back. But it looked like to me. Do you remember the Beverly Hillbillies?
Yes.
The movie when they had Granny up on the roof because she didn't want to go with them.
In her
So she's
rocking
in her
chair.
rocking chair. She's like, I'm not leaving from this rocking chair. So help me God.
I
And
do
so they like
remember
put her
this.
on the roof of the truck.
Right. And they drove to Beverly
And they drove to
Hills.
Beverly. That's what it looked like when they were going down. If you just change the sound, the music behind it, that is the exact same scene.
That's funny.
They come upon a town that's just full of these hungries, but they've got their blocker gel.
Right.
So they figure out they can just walk through them.
As long as you're silent, you don't make eye contact with
No
them.
farts at all,
You can't fart. You can't do anything.
because they'll smell it,
Right.
and they will know who dealt it.
Right.
So they weave their way through these hungries that are all just kind of standing there, fungusing, and they end up making a scene, as one does. And it was funny.
I would like to say,
Yes.
go ahead. With
So
what
you
were
called
gonna
this
say.
out.
I did. 100%.
You were like, wouldn't it be awesome
because
if Glenn
Close was being such a bitch to certain parks because he was like, everybody needs to stay quiet. Does everybody understand? He looked at Glenn Close specifically and he was like, do you understand? And she was like, we're all adults here. I'm not a child. I know what's happening.
Right.
And every time somebody does that in real life and in a movie, they're gonna fuck up. That's gonna happen. I've done it. You offered to help me up a hill one time and I said, no, I've got it. And I turned around and fell the fuck down.
promptly fell down on your asshole.
because there is a hungry pushing a pram with a baby in it, and
The baby's moving.
the baby's moving.
And Glenn Close is super interested in this.
So she puts her foot in front of the wheel of the stroller and lifts up the blanket that's covering the baby, and there is a rat eating the baby's stomach. And Glenn Close gasps. It wakes up the mom hungry, but what's interesting, what I loved about this was it wasn't like hive mind. Like they didn't just all suddenly wake up. It was just the ones that were in like super close proximity to what was happening. So like one of the hungry, like the mom hungry woke up, they shot her. Then another hungry that was like right beside her woke up, they shot him. And it was just like one or two at a time. It wasn't like something happened in, like fucking South America and then all of them woke up.
Yeah. Yeah. South America?
It didn't make sense, but we'll just roll with it.
Anyway, yeah.
This also takes place in England, by the way.
So they hide out in a abandoned building.
It's a hospital.
They have some. I have to say they had some overhead shots, and for a low budget film like this, they found themselves some decrepit looking, like post-apocalyptic areas.
Yeah, they did. What was the movie with Legend?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Big budget film.
Yeah.
I don't think they did as good of a job as this film did.
No, this felt more real. Like it was grittier. It was more real.
And when I was reading, I found out that's because they had those shots filmed over Chernobyl.
Where's Chernobyl?
Chernobyl is the Russian nuclear plant that melted down.
Yeah.
And that entire area has been evacuated for like, I think that happened in the 80s.
Yeah.
So like it's been evacuated for 30 years now.
Right.
So that was actual footage from over the top of that. They just placed some London-y things on top of it to make it look real.
Huh, I did not know that.
But that was actual location shots.
That's cool as shit. So that was all real then. They didn't set dress that.
They
little bit.
They put like the Mercedes-Benz logo on top of a building, and they did a couple other things here or there. But yeah, it was just drone footage from on top of those.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. They hide out in a building, and Sergeant Park starts to get the feels for Melanie. He starts warming up to her.
Not in a sexual way.
There's no sexualness.
It's like a dad thing.
There was that cute scene where, because they had her tied up to a radiator, and she's reading a book to Gallagher.
Oh yeah. And she's like, "Do you want to see the pictures?"
Yeah.
She's like reading it out loud, and she shows them out. It's adorable.
They send Melanie out to find food.
Right, and you were making this point the whole time. You were like, use your asset, because the hungries don't attack their own.
Yeah, I mean she's like super hungry.
Right, and she was actually also super hungry. Yes. So they let her out to go find a place for them to go, or food, or whatever. Or no, a way to distract the hungries from the front door, because they would all sort of converged around the front of this hospital. So, and they're like in a sleep type state. So Melanie leaves and she's wandering around, and you forget for a minute that she's a kid until she starts playing.
Yeah.
Like she finds like a row of houses, and she's knocking on the doors and saying what the guards say, like whenever they come to get the kids in the morning, but like in a really playful way. And she's, walking into houses and finding toys, and she's playing with the toys. And it's just... And then she gets full-on distracted for what's probably like a good 3 or 4 hours. And it just reminded me a lot of our daughter, because that's 100% what she would do. And then she finds a kitty cat, and she eats the kitty cat. Well, and also it's slightly more sad because when she was in the hospital at the army base, she had a little picture of a black and white kitten
that she was hiding.
And that she would pin up on her wall.
I assume Miss Justinu gave it to her.
I feel like Miss Justinu definitely gave it to her.
She would put it up at night, and then she would take it down and hide it under her pillow every morning.
But before she would go to sleep, she would say, "Good night, black and white kitty." It's so cute. So she eats the cat.
Yeah, so she eats this black cat, yeah. Then she finds a little puppy.
Yeah, and you're like, oh fuck, is she gonna eat the puppy? And then she picks the puppy up and she's carrying
taking
it with
back,
her,
oh,
and
she's
you're
got
like,
a pet.
oh fuck, she's keeping the puppy like a little pet. And then she walks into the massive hungries. One of the hungries smells the dog and wakes up, and then a lot of the hungries wake up. So Melanie puts the dog down, the dog takes off running, and all the hungries run after the dog. And you realize
She
this
was
little girl was
baiting
using
them.
him as bait. She's smart as shit.
And an asshole at the same time.
No, that's really smart. I mean, poor dog, but like she's saving
Just
all of her
terrified
friends.
this dog, who probably is starving anyway. They go into a place where the hungries have mutated so much, or the fungus has progressed so far that it's actually sprouting out of their brains and twisting together into these like
right.
plants.
So they've died, and
Yeah.
they've got like trees growing
They've
out of
reached
their heads.
the new, what do they keep calling it? The new new
State
metamorphoses
or
or
whatever. Yeah.
Basically, they're
Glenn
forming like these
Close-
little pods.
Glenn Close called it a sexually mature
Yeah.
state or whatever.
So they form these little pods that, if the pods were to open, they'd spray
Release all these spores.
into the air that would just obliterate all
Well,
the people.
it's the virus, but like in
Yeah.
spore form.
It's basically like they basically wrapped around this giant tower,
Right.
and it's just filled with thousands and thousands of these spores.
Right.
But they find a mobile lab, and they wander into the lab, and they still need to find food. So they send out Gallagher to find food.
Right.
And then Melanie's like, man, I have to go too. Otherwise, I'm going to eat all you bitches. So they have to let her
Why
out
did
too.
she leave?
Because she was telling him, she's like, I'm going to eat you. Like, she's like, you all smell really good right now. Basically.
Is that why she left?
Yeah, she was like, I have to go eat.
That's right. That's right.
So they let her out. And I thought she was going to go find Gallagher.
Right.
I thought she was going to go eat him. She doesn't.
That's what it seemed like.
She actually eats a bird.
Yeah.
But
a big ass crow.
But while she's out looking around, she finds a group of children that
Feral
are
kids.
feral kids that are like her, and they have like a T written on their head.
Well, I mean, I think they'd just gone full Lord of the Flies, because these kids were more than likely, what you kind of gather is that they are also second generation
Right.
kids,
Mhm.
and they
I mean, otherwise, why would they eat people?
right. I mean, what Glenn Close tells Melanie about herself is that when they found all of these babies, the babies had eaten their way out of their mothers. Like, the mother had contracted the virus, it spread to the baby through the placenta, and then the baby proceeded to eat its way out of its mother.
Yes.
So,
Which makes for awkward dinner conversation afterwards.
100%. So these kids were just not found the way that Melanie and her friends were found. And so they raised each other and themselves. But
They're doing the chatterbox thing.
they've got like a Bam Bam and Pebbles thing going
they got a
on.
T. They put a T on it. Like,
Yeah, they
they
have-
formed like
Like a group. They have a leader.
they have a symbol. They probably got like they're probably known as like the Tigers. That's what I'm
'Cause
I'm
they have a
assuming.
T.
Uh,
I think they were known
their
as
leader's name was Tony.
the Terminators.
He had a
Tony's
bat.
Terminators.
So they hunt down Gallagher basically, and Melanie sees them, figures out what they're up to. So she rushes back to get the people. So Sergeant Parks, do they all go except
No.
for Glenn Close?
Right. Glenn Close
Who
stayed there.
is suffering from a wound that she inflicted on herself back at the base when she was defending herself.
Accidentally.
She took a piece of glass and she was chopping at a zombie.
She's
So-
basically got sepsis.
Yeah, so she's dying
Yeah.
basically. They go to try to save Gallagher. They find him in a
The kids full on pulled a piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
they had placed cans for him to find, leading to a grocery store.
They led him into a trap the same way that you like hunt deer by putting corn out. They hunted Gallagher by putting cans of beans out in the street and leading him into like a shop.
And then they ambush him.
Yep.
Now they ambush him in the center of the building, but but one of the children lures him into the center.
Right.
Why do you think they did that? They didn't need to do that. They
I
were going to
don't know.
overpower him at any point.
I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to.
I think it was just for the theater of it.
It's possible because
They were just bored as shit.
That was unnerving. Like the way the kid the kid comes out with like a dead rat and it's like squeezing it like at Gallagher and like biting its teeth like to show that like it wants Gallagher to eat the rat, and Gallagher's like, no thank you, I already had dinner, my tummy's full, you eat that. And then the kid's like backing up from him, and he's like, don't be daft, come here, like what do you like, let me help you,
don't be scared.
Yeah. And then the kid's like,
and they take him out at the knees.
They slice his knees, and then they fucking converge and eat all of his flesh off of his bones.
When they discover him, he has eaten everything.
Yeah.
And that's when they realize that not only was he the trap, but
they're in the trap also.
the tigers have surrounded the grocery store, and they're waiting for them to come out. Melanie goes full badass.
In this full, like, boss mode.
She becomes, like, ipso facto challenger to the throne for Tony.
Yeah.
And kills him.
Did she kill him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because the other kids eat him.
Do you think they... I don't think they ate him.
They did.
I don't think so.
I think they did. But so she tells Miss Justinu and Sergeant Parks to act like they're afraid of her, and then Sergeant Parks goes, act like we're afraid, because they like legitimately are terrified of her in this moment, because she's protecting them. She's protecting her people, but she's doing it in like this very serious, like alpha dog kind of way.
So they rush back to the...
She's growling and barking at the other kids.
So they rush back to the mobile base
center thing.
Yeah, the mobile lab, and they find the doors open. And they're like, "Oh shit, why are the doors open?" And they get worried about Glenn Close, and they rush in there. But that's a trap.
She's wearing a gas mask.
That son of a bitch
is
gassed them, so that she can get to Melanie, because she still wants to make the cure. So she gasses them, then she drags Melanie into the room, and she's getting everything ready. Turns around to find out Melanie is not passed out, because
Melanie doesn't need to breathe as much as we need to breathe.
And another boss move, she's like, "I don't need to breathe, bitch." So then they have a conversation. In this conversation is very interesting, because Glenn Close says, and this is where the movie takes a turn. Because in a normal situation like this, like, the greater good of it is to save humanity, right?
Right.
And Glenn Close stands for this. Glenn Close is telling her, don't you want to save Miss Justinu and Sergeant Parks and the rest of the world too? Like, you carry in you the cure. And Melanie's talking to her. She's like, so you're telling me I could save all of these people
if I give you my brain and my spinal
column. She's like, and she'll know that I did this? And it's like, yes, I will promise you, I'll make sure that Miss Justinu does know that you did this. And then Melanie tells her, in the most BA line of any movie, she says...
No, she asks her if she still thinks that she's just mimicking behavior, or if she's really alive. And Glenn Close says, no, I think that you're really alive.
So she says back to her,
why should I die to save you?
And then she leaves. And
she tells Glenn Close to stay there because she'll be more safe if she stays there.
She doesn't.
No, she follows her.
She does what every bad guy does. She continues to follow her and runs into the feral kids who eat her.
Right.
But then Melanie goes and she finds this giant tower of spores and sets a fire to open up the spores and basically cast all of humanity into this fungus.
Yep.
She left Sergeant Parks and Miss Justinu in the mobile lab where they'd be safe.
Mm.
But Sergeant Parks came looking for her because he was worried about her.
Which is so nice.
So he has a conversation with her as he's dying, because he's ingesting all of these spores. and he says that he doesn't want to turn, and he's
Well, and we find out that the last time he saw his wife, she was 7 months pregnant, and he was joking with her about being as big as a house, but she was still beautiful, and he was like, I still hold out hope that she's alive out here somewhere. And he just sort of tells Melanie that, and you're like, oh God, like, that's so sad. And then he tells Melanie he does not want to turn into a hungry, and hands her his handgun. I mean, at first he starts off as kind of a gruff, like, non-cool dude, and then the further and further they go, the more and more he gets to know Melanie. You can tell, like, he likes her. Like, he kind of thinks of her as, like, a little sister kind of thing.
Yeah.
They have a cute
They have bonded
relationship.
over the course of this trip.
Yeah.
Miss Justinu wakes up inside the mobile lab, and she wanders to the edge of it to find Melanie waiting for her on the other side of the glass.
Did we say that Melanie set the tree on fire already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, Glenn Close, following Melanie, trying to convince her to come back and let her cut up her brain.
It's hard sell. It's hard
right.
sell.
Yeah, for anybody.
She's a great actress, but
Yeah.
I don't know if she's got the selling ability for
Yeah.
that. She doesn't have the chops.
She's no... Who am I looking for?
Mariah Carey.
No. She's no Kendall Jenner. She doesn't have a Pepsi in her pocket. She can't
Not
solve
a
all
Pepsi
the
to
problems.
piss in. Miss Justinu and Melanie meet at the door of the mobile lab, and they have like the sad hand against the glass, hand on the other side. Which, by the way, in real life, you get nothing out of that. When you touch like the one side of the glass and the other person touches the other,
Yeah.
that's an emotional moment for somebody watching. But it doesn't really do anything for the person who's doing it.
I don't know. I think it's more like a symbolic thing.
Yeah, but
Like,
it doesn't
you're there
actually
together.
like. It's not like you can feel each other's warmth through the glass.
Well, no.
It's not like you're actually accomplishing anything
It's just a nice thing that we do.
in movies,
I
not
don't
in real
know.
life.
I don't know. Have you ever been on
Have
the
you ever
other...
done it?
Yes. One time, one of the kids locked me out of the sliding glass door. And I put my hand up to the door, and our son, who was like 1.5, maybe 2 at the time, put his little hand on my little hand through the glass. And then we stared at each other, and I was like, let me the fuck in the house.
And then you beat his ass.
I did not. We do not spank our
That's
children. It's not nice.
So it fades to black, and we thought we were done.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes back.
And Miss Justinu is getting out her whiteboard.
No. Miss Justin is just laying there.
Oh, that's right.
And then you hear tapping on the glass. And
Right.
it goes outside where Melanie is setting up the class of feral kids and the kids from her old class.
She went and found her classmates and brought them to Miss Justinu.
And they're holding class with Miss Justinu on the inside of the mobile lab.
Yes.
And them on the outside.
Right. So
And she's telling them stories.
Miss Justinu is teaching them English, and she's like, all right, my normal kids, we've got to be patient while we bring the new kids up to speed. And Melanie is keeping the feral kids in line. She's, growling at them and keeping them still. And it's fucking perfect. I mean, it's not gonna work because eventually Miss Justinu is gonna run out of food and water. And
Well, I think the idea was they were bringing her food and water.
I guess, but like, wouldn't everything be contaminated with those spores and shit?
Not if it's in like a can.
But everything would have those spores, like, on it. Like, even the can would have the spores on it. Like, unless she has some sort of, like, decompression chamber that, like, everything would go through.
Well, she got a mobile lab.
I mean, I guess, but she's...
It had everything she needed to harvest a brain and spinal column. I guarantee there was enough stuff in there.
I mean, but really, what do you need to do that? You need, like, some sort of a hacksaw. You need, like, maybe a pair of scissors. Like, you don't need a lot to do those kinds of things.
I'm sorry. You need some way of storing these things.
You need a blender. You need a refrigerator. Maybe
Lollipop.
like if you're doing it Pinterest style, you need like a mason jar. Like, there's only a couple of things that you need. Like, harvesting a brain can't be that hard.
Have you done this? Is this something you have experience with?
I mean, sometimes when you're gone,
Did we have a third child that I didn't know about?
Sometimes when you're gone, I get bored.
The neighborhood kids.
I mean, if they stay too long, I can't help it.
Lollipop. But yeah, that's how the film ends, and it was super sad, and women had an emotional orgasm, and everybody moved on.
What?
Yeah.
Who had an emotional orgasm?
Women.
Who
Ladies in the audience.
No.
Yes.
I don't.
It brought up the feels.
You do not speak for the trees.
Did it not bring up the feels?
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't think it was on that level. That's pretty intense.
For an emotional orgasm?
Yeah. That's like, like watching Tom Hardy play with puppies. Like that'll get you there. But, I mean, this was fine, but not there.
So, on a scale of 1 to 5, 9-year-old brain stems.
No, you gotta come up with something better.
Nope, that's it. 9-year-old brain stems. How scary is this film?
Like a 1. Not particularly scary.
No. Is there any moments where you were, like, worried? Not even like when they're moving in between the zombies?
Not really. I mean, because, like, you get the impression that nothing's gonna happen. Like, that's not how it's gonna end, that there's other stuff going on. I don't know. It's not super tense.
On a scale of 1 to 5, 9-year-old brain stems. How nightmare-inducing is this film?
Like a 1.
Yeah.
Nothing major.
On a scale of 1 to 5, 9-year-old brain stems. How gory is this film?
Like a 2.
Really?
Maybe?
Like there's a rat eating a baby?
Yeah, but like, again, I'm gonna go back to this. You can see hard or core stuff on like primetime television.
Then a rat chewing on a baby's intestines?
Yeah, like you can watch like Law and Order.
What shows are you watching?
You have no idea.
Was this on SVU?
Probably. Like they show people's like brains and shit. Like there's way grosser stuff in the world than this movie.
Bechdel test.
Passed.
Yeah, lots of conversations.
Yeah,
Just
you've
the
got like 2.
You've got
3.
Glenn Close and Justin New.
Yeah.
You've got
And
Melanie
Melanie.
and Justin New. You've got Melanie and Glenn Close. You've got, yeah. Plenty.
And their conversations don't involve men at all. At all. It's all about them and their relationships to Melanie.
The main character in the book is white with blonde hair, and Miss Justinu in the book is black. And for the movie, they flipped it, and they made Melanie the star black and Miss Justinu white.
A very, very talented young actress. She's gonna do well. This was not a bad one. I think that if zombie films are gonna keep going in this direction with like the emotions and shit, like I think it started with like World War Z, like with Brad Pitt. Like I think if they're gonna keep doing this, where they're just gonna make us sad, then they need to pull themselves out of the horror genre and go a completely opposite direction. Because it's not horror anymore. It's a drama. Is what it is. It's a drama with a little bit of gore in it. And that's it. This isn't a horror movie.
When George Romero made Night of the Living Dead, he didn't see it as a horror film. He saw it as an allegory for race. So,
Interesting.
So Night of the Living Dead was just his take on the race relations at the time.
Yeah.
And how terrified people were of, like, colors. And then when he made Day of the Dead, or Dawn of the Dead came next. It was his allegory for our consumerism. And then when he made Day of the Dead, it was his allegory for military and like the military structure. It was always his take on. It was his way of sharing his thoughts about issues.
That's interesting.
So
if you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at
Scaredy Cat Pod.
And if you want to send us an email, you can send it to scaredycat.
scaredycatpod@gmail.com.
And then if you want to send us,
Flowers.
you can send
Call
them
1-800-FLOWERS.
and send them to your mom instead, because we're not going to give you our address.
True. Or you can send them to Gmail. Maybe. I don't know.
If you feel the need or
For speed.
or if you feel like it is your duty as a citizen of these great United States to rate and review us on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher or whatever, or, please do, or recommend us to a friend or a frenemy. That would be fun.
I don't know. I don't think I want that hatred listening.
No, I don't mind.
Maybe it'll bring you together.
Give us to your Regina George.
It'll give you something to talk about around the water cooler, and you won't be frenemies anymore. You'll be straight up friends.
Or straight up enemies.
And that's how we make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's how it works.
All right. But that's it for this episode.
Be excellent to each other.
Hasta, bye-bye.